Hello. So, I'm just gonna be doing the talking over the run thing again for this because I have a lot of thoughts on it as per usual. But yeah, I finally got sub 15 that I've been working on for probably 5 months now. I've been trying to get this for like 5 months, and I've had so many good pace runs killed by RNG out of my control. The earliest of which I can think of was the first 1240 second portal miss, which was on March 25th. And I got this yesterday on September 2nd. And then the most recent of which obviously being the 1040 second portal miss that I got less than a week ago, I think, which was like 11xx pace. So this like 1451 that this is less impressive compared to that, but I'm still happy with it because I finally got the sub 15, and I'll keep grinding for an even better PB in the future, I guess. And let's get going. We're starting on the wall here because this happened pretty much immediately into the session. The seed that I PB'd on was literally like, I think the 5th seed that I played for 5, and then it's this seed, I believe. So my mechanics are a little sloppy because of that, because I'm just not warmed up, but we find the chunk of the buried treasure as usual. Mess up the fast looting a little bit. That's okay. Yeah. Because it's only the 5th seed I played today, my mechanics will be a little bit sloppy. Just because I hadn't really warmed up all too much. But it's okay. I accidentally crafted a button there, which is not good, and then I mess up crafting my sticks. And I accidentally pick up all the stuff that I threw out when I have to go get stone. This run, honestly, is just not well played at all. Like, I'm not super proud of it, but we take what we can get. It's a sub 15, who cares? Actually, I do make a little mistake here. Normally, I would get a little bit more wood so that I have more than currently I have enough wood for 4 beds. But I just don't here, so I only have 12 planks, which is, it's not the end of the world, but it's not ideal. I see this kelp over to the left, so I'm trying to send that for a ravine. You could see for a moment there was actually kelp to the right, which is a real ravine, and this kelp ends up being fake. So now I'm just kind of going over here. I see this ravine, and I decide to go check if that's real, which it's not. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, this is probably dead. I'm going to need to reset it soon. But I see this kelp over here, finally. And I decided to send it. I realized, by the way, that I haven't crafted a bucket. I completely forgot. This is just something that's kind of been happening recently. I just am forgetting to craft a bucket for some reason. But yeah, I see this ravine, and I'm just, like, convinced that this is real by this point. And it is. And so now, just standard stuff. We're getting the flint. And that drops flint, so I go ahead and I craft my bucket. I got my crafting table, get the flint, and we are entering the nether sub 3, which is what I've been playing for. If I really wanted to, I could be playing for like sub 230, but I just didn't feel like I needed that level of optimization for just a sub 15. So we're in at about 255. And I get a Bastion Spike fairly quickly. It's kind of through a wall, which is not ideal. I'm checking down to see if maybe I'm like high on terrain, but I'm at Y44, so I don't really know why. But I was just checking for my C value to see if it was high. But once I started digging through the wall, I see my C value is 700, and the spike was very fast. So I figure it's probably not too bad of a dig, so I'm just gonna try it and just see what happens. And I come across the soul sand here, which means that there's terrain above me. So I dig out. I'm setting up my hotbar here, waste a little bit of time, and it's okay. And I see the bridge bastion here. At this point, I'm thinking it's almost 4 minutes, and I'm trying to enter the bastion sub 5, so it's pretty possible that this run is dead. But then I see the fort, and it's very close. So I decided to continue playing it, just because like it could be something. Lower render to 2, which helps with the gas, but it's still pretty close. So as you can see, that fireball still went off, so I just raised my render again. That lowering of the render could have been very bad. We could have had piglins spawn in, or not piglins, zombie piglins spawn in the bastion. And there did, but it doesn't end up being as bad of a problem as one would think. So we're coming up on this left side rampart. It's a single chest. So I'm thinking in my head right now, either we're going to be, it's double single and we should play Donkey Kong, or it's right side triple and we should play Crack Smoker. But at this point, I don't think I was able to see what the right side rampart was. So I'm unsure at this point, but I'm just kind of beelining it to the chalice, and so that I can get my route started ASAP, because it's already 5 minutes and we've just gotten to the chalice, which is, it is, as is obvious considering this is a sub 15, it is technically sub 15 pace, but it does not leave a lot of wiggle room. So I'm getting my gold and I'm crafting my helmet so I can start my route. At this point, I'm still trying to figure out if I can see the right side of the chalice, like this, not the chalice, the right side rampart, and I can't. So I go over here and I try to see, and I can't tell from this point. I should at this point, like you can kind of tell that that's a single, but I wasn't sure at this point, so I just decided to high roll with Crack Smoker and see what happens. And it does end up being a single, which is, it's not the end of the world, but it's not amazing. Like, what you would preferably want to do Donkey Kong here in this case. But I do get my trading hole set up and it ends up working fine. This guy does cause a little bit of grief. It also would have been better to do Donkey Kong just because the fortress is on the left side of the bastion, so it's just closer. Anyway, I go over to check this chest, forgetting that I checked it on the way in. But I'm able to hang a pro from here, so it's like fine, but I do waste a little bit of time, and I realize I already checked that, so I just head back to my trades. At this point, there's not really a ton to do in the bastion other than wait for my trades. I should be pre-crafting a blaze bed, and I don't need to pre-craft an iron axe because I have a diamond sword, but I don't remember if I do or not, but it's likely that I do because I always forget that I have a diamond sword. So here I'm just throwing out some junk. Here's where I'm going to pre-craft my blaze bed, which is a good habit that I've gotten into. And I did pre-craft an iron axe. I didn't need to do that because of the diamond sword, but as I said, I have a bad habit of forgetting that I even have that. Now I have enough string. I have 20 obby. The only thing I'm a little low on is pearls, so I decided to wait a little bit longer to see if I get some more. And here I have 18, so I decide, after a little bit of inventory sorting, that this is enough and I'm gonna leave. So now we're coming up to the fort at 8 minutes-ish, which again is debatably sub 15 pace, but it's really not leaving a lot of room for error. Ideally, I'd want to be in the fort in under 8 minutes. And here I get in at about 8:30. Like, a sub 10.4 is sub 15 pace if you crank, but I like to be in, like, to go as fast as possible, obviously because it's a speed run, but also just because it leaves me a lot of wiggle room. And I decide to low RD this fort just because it's in a Soul Sand Valley, might as well. Because I'm in the bad part, so I might as well see if I can spawn some strays, which I do here. But I have a little bit of issue with some withers that I have to deal with, which loses me some time. But as you can see, I just fully forgot that I have a diamond sword and I don't even use it during this blaze split. Now I'm just trying to nav out towards the good part while hoping to spawn in strays with low RD. And it works pretty well, I'd say. I believe I get up to about 5 rods before I ever come across a spawner, which is really good, actually. We got this guy here, who drops a rod. And then we have 2 more strays over here, who I believe both drop. Yep, 1. And that guy drops. I see this guy over here, so I decide to go towards him. Little mechanical error with the placing this whole sand, but it's okay. Now this guy's on the bad part, so it's not in a great position, but I decide it's probably worth going over towards him. And he drops a rod. Now, of course, this is still debatable pace. It's just past 10 minutes, and I haven't blinded. Ideally, I'd want to blind under 10 minutes. But if I see both spawners and I hit this first spawn cycle, it doesn't drop, so I go over to this spawner, which spawns 2 blazes. And this guy thankfully drops, so now I'm on 6 and I'm just out. Normally, I would pre-craft while waiting on blaze cycles, but because I did low RD, I didn't really have the time to do that because I only hit a blaze spawner for my last blaze rod. So now we're going to measure eyes. I didn't actually pick up my boat here, which is interesting. I throw my first eye. This is pretty standard triangulations, +7. And I get a 38% chance of 1018 and a 30% chance of 431, so I have to throw a second eye. And then on this measure, it's 100% chance 431 blocks, which is very good. I'm like kind of thinking at this point maybe there's something back in this run. It's a really close blind. It's a late blind, but it's very close, so this could still be something. I go get more wood so I can actually craft enough beds for a 0 cycle. And I pre-craft sticks for a bow, but I don't actually craft a bow here, which is interesting. And I'm just throwing out some junk so I have space for all my beds. I have 2 anchors as well. I should have crafted a bow there, but I didn't. And now we're ready to go to court. It's 12 minutes, which again, very late, but still possible. Especially with such a short blind. Now zombie gives me some trouble, but I just kind of ignore him. And yeah, we're only 50 blocks off in the nether. And here I realize I forgot to craft a bow, so I just kind of do it here. And I look at the angle I need to travel, and I decide that the best course of action is to just dig through this wall. Which is debatable, but it works out. I should be digging diagonal here. No, I shouldn't. I'm just on one of the cords. Never mind what I'm saying, I'm a brick. But yeah, I'm just on cords already. So now I'm just digging down to about Y40 so I can actually hit the stronghold. I worry about maybe falling down terrain with that soul sand, but it ends up being fine because of the terrain generation. And we're building our second portal at about 13 minutes, which is slower than a lot of other pace that I've had, but it's still sub 15able if I get a good stronghold nav. And I realize I'm just not in the starters, so I do my preemptive, I get my spike, it's top left. You can scan here just for a little bit of a spike. That spike is actually very misleading because it's not even in that direction from here. But I veer off to the left immediately here because of the direction that spike was in. I don't have anything anymore, but I decide to check down here because of the light, and it's just a 5-way. So I just head back. And then you can see that the portal room was actually just directly to the right off of this 4-way. So now I'm entering at about 1350. I'm setting up for 0. I can do the setup list, but I just didn't feel like it. And we're entering at 354, which as long as I don't hit the worst 0 you've ever seen, this is guaranteed to be a sub 15. It's back 1 and 8, so it's pretty chill. This 0 is a mess though, because I mess up the setup because of this pearl. I end up building like 3 blocks offset here because of the height that my pearl was at. Usually I build 93 and I bridge at 91 and staircase 4 times. But I ended up building at 92 with 2 staircases, which ends up putting me way offset. So this ends up being like an 8-bed 0. And I also barely survive because of that. And there it is. The sub 15.